Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. Before we start, I just also publish on Rumble and I do all this social stuff here also. Today is a biggie one, not much yesterday, but today we got a lot of stuff to cover. Sorry, mainly regarding AMD's 7000 and like the Ryzen, the AM5 platform stuff here from the CPU burning out. MSI yesterday just did like a new BIOS to like lower the voltages, but supposedly it will get things in control. From Igor's lab there was a lot of stuff going on, and I think he managed to pinpoint at the time that it was regarding the CPU voltage pins that were burning out. This might happen more probably with X3D cache CPUs, mainly because they are more sensitive to heat, and the bulging, I suppose it has to do something with that. But today morning, when I open up and start doing some reviews to see what news to come up with, I think we got something that might have the reason of this burning out, which is basically Expo and SoC voltages to blame. Because when you turn on Expo, which is like XMP profile for the DDR, for the RAM on the system, it seems to it increases a little bit the voltages, and what it seems to be doing to a certain point is how can I explain it? So the fact that the Zen 4 CPUs run at usually the performance is basically dictated by temperature. The X variants and the non-X variants are dictated around 95%, 95 degrees, give or take. So when it reaches that temperature threshold, it will start lowering down the voltages. So the clocks and everything goes a little bit down to maintain the temperatures. The X3D, it's kind of the same thing, but the temperature is lower because the 3D cache is more sensitive to temperature. But it happens, or what it seems to be happening, because this is like an insider information that we got here from Tom's Hardware. This is happening basically in all motherboards. To a certain extent, the ones that we see more, it's regarding ASUS, but this is something that can happen in all motherboards, in all CPUs, the 7000 ones. So everybody's in danger to a certain point of this happening to them. Usually when you turn on the Expo memory, some overclocking profiles, then this depends on the motherboard manufacturer, can to a certain extent the voltages start to be a little bit higher, so the performance can get a little bit higher also, and this increases a little bit the temperatures, and basically the sensors here might get burned or something like that, and so the protections of the temperature caps here are basically off, and that's why it continues to supply more and more voltages depending on the situation, and then it starts to do this mess that you can see on the picture. Basically, the new BIOSes with new caps on the temperatures and everything, it's just turn off the Expo profiles at the moment. It's the safest way, and put everything on factory reset to a certain point in terms of temperatures and because I think this is mostly happening with people trying to tweak a little bit here, because the normal settings, you don't see anything regarding this situation. Usually it's when people try to go for Expo, and I'm not sure, because there is some investigation. We are hoping to see if Gamers Nexus with the board and the CPU from the Redditor, that he managed to get them. They already made a statement saying that they are waiting to receive and do all the things. They will do the same kind of investigation they did with the 60-pin 12 power connectors on the NVIDIA cards when they come out, and at that burning out situation also. This is in terms of what it seems to be safe at the moment, if you leave everything as it is, like as it comes, without tweaking anything, it's okay. I don't think Expo depends, because this depends on the manufacturer itself, because of the profiles that they have on the system itself, on the BIOS. At the moment, turn it off and remove any and lock your voltages if possible at 1.25, which is the normal voltages for this kind of thing. But yeah, basically this, from what I gather, it's basically what's happening. It's turning on Expo or trying to overclock a little bit, try to squeeze out a little bit more performance on the CPU, and there seems to be some safeguards that are not locked down per se, but the fix is coming very soon. I think during like 1 or 2 days for sure, because it's mainly basically locking the voltages so they don't pass, so basically hardwaring locking in terms of like physical locking of the voltages. So even if you try to tweak, it will not pass there. It will only basically do some undervolting to try to mitigate to avoid this kind of situation. I hope I make myself a little bit clear. I'm not an engineer, but and I'm not very well expert on these kind of things, but it seems what the main gist of this thing is: just turn off Expo, put everything as default as it usually comes, and until new BIOSes come out. And always don't forget, when you download new BIOSes, go to the official sites. Continue with AMD. There has been a lot of leaks now because which one it is? There's so many things coming up this coming 2 months, which is I'm sorry, there is like something, not Games Fest. I'm with the Games Fest locked in my head now. Supposedly we got some leaks on the 7800 XTs that might be similar to the Pro W7800, which has the Pro version of GPUs from NVIDIA. And it seems that this 7800 XT might be on par with the 4070 Ti, of course, with more the 16 gigabytes of RAM. The speculation is it might be based on the Navi 31, so the 7900 chip, basically. And if it is, it's not certain. If it is, it might get a little bit more than the 4070 Ti, and it might be called XTX, mainly because it's part of the Navi 31 chip. But the Navi 32 will also include, from what I can gather, the 7800 and the 7700 variants of those GPUs, and they will come at least with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Then we have something for the 7600. I think it comes with 12, and I suppose this is aiming more for 1080p gaming. But yeah, there is a lot of info and rumors coming out now, because we are approaching that thing, Computex. That's what I wanted to mention. I'm so sorry. The Computex thing, it's for sure it will at least be announced. Not that we are guaranteed that it's going to be launched, but at least we have for sure some announcements regarding these GPUs. We might not have all the info, but from these leaks that I'm seeing all around, probably will see at least some information. And of course, in terms of GPU pricing, we cannot guarantee you anything. But the first thing that the first information is the 7800 XT might go around 650, which is competing with, if it's compete with the 4070 Ti in terms of performance, the price it's way better than the 4070 Ti. And of course, this is only like 50 bucks more expensive than the MSRP or the 4070 Ti, and it delivers supposedly 20% more performance, which is like the gap between the Ti and non-Ti version of the 4070. We might see some 450 for the 77, which is at the same price what supposedly 4060 Ti comes, and I assume that it performs way better, because the 4060 Ti it's almost at the same level of a 4060 non-Ti or 4050, give it or take. It's a lot of stuff. When you have more precise information, I will sure to let you know. And continue with this. that's it. That the Computex, we might get this kind of thing to show at least some custom AIB, just not only the Radeon ones, the AMD ones, but also some AIB stuff here, and probably we might see some overclocked GPUs. We'll see how it goes. It's all this information seems to point out that we are going to see some good stuff here. In terms of what we have here, in terms of Radeon, the 7000 series, you only have like laptop information, so I don't trust very much this will translate the same thing for the desktop. But as you can see, we got a lot of stuff coming up in Computex, which is coming late May, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, we got also some good news regarding some modded 37's GPUs. This is not the first time this YouTuber, it's a Brazilian one, Paulo Gomes. We Portuguese and Brazilian people, we are very handy when we want to, and this guy basically modded a 3070 Ti, which usually comes with 8 GB, and he modded with a 16 GB variant, and it seems to, at least in terms of Resident Evil 4, which is like a VRAM hog, the 60 GB was performing 9 times better than the normal version in terms of 1% lows, and that by itself it makes a difference because it makes a smoother experience. And here on the video says around 100 frames per second, which proves the point that VRAM capacity and the memory, the memory bus width, it's very important when you start cranking up graphics settings and putting some technologies like ray tracing and everything. It starts to hog the VRAM on the GPUs, and that's why NVIDIA this generation is going to get screwed, because these products will not age well. And I think from all the things that we're seeing from AMD, it will age way better. And hopefully the Battle Mage from Intel will do the same thing with in terms of like VRAM and also memory bus width, mainly because it's the cards perform, they perform very well, but when you need this kind of buffering, then when things start to stutter a mess, and like VRAM leakage to the DDRAM that usually provokes those stuttering messes. But yeah, it proves the point of a lot of people saying that we need to start to see the minimum 12 GB for 1080p, 16 for 1440p, and 24 or 20 for 4K. It's the main thing that we need to start to see from the GPU manufacturers, and AMD it's a little bit ahead on NVIDIA regarding this part. But we all know that NVIDIA, what he wants to do, it's cheap out the maximum they can on the hardware, so he can sell you on the technologies, the DLSS, which is a good technology, but you're just to some point being fooled regarding this kind of technology, because the hardware is bare minimum, and to a certain point ray tracing is not that good enough still. It's a gimmicky, even in the 4090, to take advantage of RTX, you need to start pumping up the DLSS technology, which by extent at this point in time it's fake frame rates and it's upscaling technology. Never forget, it's upscaling. Even though it can seem a little bit prettier, it's upscaling technology. And when you start, at least in my perspective, when you start putting a lot of technology here, at the same time, you might start to see some issues regarding like syncing all this thing, even though NVIDIA seems to be good on that field. I'm going to wrap up with some this hardware stuff here. TSMC workers are salty about only 5% pay raise, by responding that Intel or the competition isn't this stingy. Basically, I don't know sometimes what these people are talking about, because I think their compensations and the salary raise are tied up on their contract regarding like how performance regarding each employee has to be some seniority also. Of course, it's a pain in the ass because it's a bleeding edge technology. It's very specialized. Not everybody can do this kind of work. But yeah, corporations will always do corporation stuff, which is maximum profits and disregard basically workers the maximum they can without making them live. It's always like this. But of course, we know that the semiconductor industry here, in terms of like for not only for GPUs, it's anything that is microchip. It's on a downturn to a certain point, so there is less orders, so the manufacturer they will manufacture less, which to a certain point will have less returns on what they do, because the factories will produce less, so the investment of continuing to work on the power plants and everything, it will be the same, but the income will be less. I don't know if it has something to do with this, but by the title itself, it's a little throwaway here. Now, gaming news, we still have some things to go through. Armored Core 6 will release in August, at least this is the latest rumor. Supposedly, again, we are being already with the Summer Game Fest. We already know there's for sure something will happen, even like a more precise release date with some teaser trailer. But seems to be that this later rumor is that they are going to announce and put some, I don't know if they are going to do some showcase per se of going like give an overall view of what the game will be, because supposedly the Summer Game Fest will come very soon. But the date here is for late August. I don't know if I think it's June or July. I'm not sure. The Game Fest here. I don't remember when it is. No, there is no dates here because the first rumors were around September, October. But yeah, I was trying to see when it is this Summer Games Fest. I'm not sure. I think it's June, I think, so people prepare for the summer and all that stuff. We will see how it goes, but it's everything pinpoints to around this August, maybe early September launch date. Control, which is not an old, it's an older game per se, it has an official HDR and ultra-wide patch to bring also some DLSS improvements. This is from a gameplay programmer from Remedy. It's unofficial, so it's not. I think the guy just was working on this and basically launched. I think this can be downloaded on PC Gamer. There is this link here where you can now download the update, and we'll bring all of this improvements here. It's not an official one from Remedy, but it is what it is. What we got. It's facing as a mod on the game itself. It's always good to see the people keep working on these games, because this one seems pretty good, and they are working on the sequel and Alan Wake 2 also. We got Red Dead Redemption 2 4K texture packs. This one is more focused on the story and side characters, so it's mainly about the characters itself, the ones that appear here. It seems to have a lot of improvements, and of course prepared for have some VRAM, because textures always occupy VRAM buffer, so pay attention to that. I think it's on Nexus Mod. Yeah, we got a link here for Nexus Mod for this texture pack. And we're going to wrap up with some news with supposedly Forza Motorsport. It's in a polishing phase and supposedly will launch in this year. It's been quite a while. We saw something in early this year, the announcement of Forza Motorsport, the official announcement. They are working everything. It seems that they started to develop the game. They went on and accepted some insider gamers input, so they can I don't know, build a better game per se, because I'm not sure that the last Forza Motorsport was that good regarding the previous ones, and it's always good to have, like, from at least the gaming community, to have some feedback of some features and how things should feel and everything. They can announce all the latest physics and all the lightning technology, but if the game doesn't play well, it's not worth it. But yeah, basically this is it for news. Just going to wrap up with some deals here. We got a lot of stuff here, mainly from Resident Evil games are also in promotion again. Prey also, and I've got here from Steam Puzzle Fest. There is some games here like the Talos Principle, Papers, Please, like an indie game, an older one, and we got a lot of stuff here. I will leave a link on this Steam Puzzle Fest and also some of the Resident Evil ones, and plus Dishonored franchise, which is part of the also from the Arcane Studio stuff, which Prey is also included here. I will leave a description, all these links for all of these games and deals. And it's been a long one, a lot of stuff happening. Hope tomorrow is a little bit less busy and we can focus more on some other stuff. But yeah, I'll wrap up for today. Hope you have a full day, and I will see you in the next one. So till then, Kunamy Master out.